Hey, Cinners. I'm Shannon.
Gulp, and I'm Sean.
I was just looking at you taking a sip. I was like, really now?
I know. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not good at my job?
Oh, by the way, and this is Sinful Cuts.
Yeah, I was just about to launch into the shortcuts intro. Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, this is Simple Cuts. Okay, yeah, we're talking about the witch today. Look, this is the most fun we're going to have before we get into the witch because there's not a lot of laughs when you get into the witch.
No.
I love, I love this movie.
I
It's not a chuckler.
no, I absolutely adore this movie. And what an impressive feat, right? First time debut by Robert Eggers. I mean, he's proved himself with this one, what he is capable of. And I feel like he's been just blasting them out left and right. Like, I can only imagine what else, he has in store for us. I know this
Right?
year we had a little treat for Nosferatu at the end of the year, but I can only imagine what he's already developing as this project wraps up. Like
I
I'll see anything he puts out.
Huge fan, huge Eggers. I think, Shan, we're talking horror. We know who we're talking to. We know who is listening and what they like. If you're into horror, then you're absolutely. I'm not saying that you love Eggers, but you've seen his work.
Mhm.
It'd be really hard to say that you're into horror and you haven't checked out Robert Eggers' movies because they're just so visually interesting, and dynamic. Um, I love this one the most of all of his movies so far because this one has the best narrative structure. You know, I
Mhm.
feel like he's playing jazz a little bit in the lighthouse, and you're like, what's going on now?
Yeah.
But you love it. I mean, visually, it's so interesting, and you love it. I'm really looking forward to Nosferatu because I think we'll get back to that narrative structure that I need, so I don't feel like a dope. Um, and I can't wait for it. And there was, oh damn it, because of brain and words. There was a huge expo just the other week where the studios present their trailers,
Mhm.
and I was combing through Instagram posts and a lot of on-site articles about what really resonated and what people loved and left there just screaming about. And sure enough, Nosferatu was one of them. You
Ah,
know, and they don't even show Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu in the trailer, but they're all
nice.
talking about him. He's coming. He's coming. And I'm like, I love that. My goodness. Did you hear the little girl in my throat? That
Yes, the answer is yes, I did.
one of these days I'll get to the end of puberty. I promise.
Please
Oh my
don't.
god. So so that is going to be that's going to be something to really look forward to. The only bad part is December, but that's great. We'll close out the year strong.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Do you want me to get into the plot really fast for those of you who haven't seen it? I hope you've seen it, but maybe if you need us to refresh your memory.
No, please have at it.
All right. So the plot is a family in 1630s New England is torn apart by the forces of witchcraft, black magic, and possession. So 1630s, right? So this is did they hint that this was kind of like the Roanoke community by
It's
chance?
I would think that they're not saying that this is but they're definitely hinting at this is what happened to those people. you know, like
hmm
they all they all went somewhere.
They all went somewhere. So the but 1630. So this is about like what is it, like 30 or 40 years before even the Salem witch trials, give or take.
Yeah, I think we're
So
creeping up on it for sure. But
yeah.
what I think he does great is that he's laying the groundwork for. You can see where the religious fervor is already very present, but all it's looking for is a target, you know, and
hmm
and there we have it. Now this movie takes a completely different stance, and they're like, no, nope, these witches are definitely witches.
Yes. Yeah, so like Eggers basically like I well I think he was trying to, just get his foot in the door anywhere, and like his short stories really weren't getting picked up or anything like that. So he just decided to kind of like reflect back, take a step back, and just kind of go back to his roots. So again, he was born and raised in New England himself, so he
Mhm.
grew up, hearing about, the witches and supposedly what people actually believed, and finally decided to turn this fairy tale into reality, because again, back in 1630s and obviously a little beyond, as we tragically saw in our history books, like everyone really believed these things. Like this was real.
Yes,
Like the
very
woman
much
at the
so.
end of the road that, like maybe she's just, a grumpy, elderly woman and just doesn't like to be bothered by people. Like they're like, no, 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 she's stealing your children. And people actually believed it.
Well, it's present in 2024 in different variations. It's certainly it's not witchcraft. Well, sometimes it is witchcraft. Sometimes you literally have people say the witches are running the English department in your school. So all right, we'll
Like,
look into
okay.
that.
Okay.
But it's it's like this it's what's the word I'm looking for? Oh, again, words. It's just this obsessive compulsion to blame, to blame something. My ills, all of my ills, all of the things, the bad things that are happening to me. There must be some sort of grand scheme, and it is witchcraft. And you know what? Ed stole my fucking tomatoes last year. I know it. I didn't see him, but that fucking Ed Shady, and he's a witch. And then Ed's like, wait,
Yeah.
I can explain. I was making ketchup. It's just, it like how I'm watching The Witch and everything about it is uncomfortable. I'm like, I wouldn't want to sleep there. Those clothes look fucking itchy. Oh, by the way, there is a witch in the woods. Don't go in there. What do you do when you wake up in the morning except work until you go to sleep at night? That sounds horrible. Like everything about that time period. And then it's then you start layering on like you're probably always damp and it was always cold and you smelled and everybody else smelled. Like it's just
Yeah.
Eggers captures all of that without having to like throw it in your face. He captures all of the uncomfortability. I don't even know if that's a word, but it sounds like one.
Yeah. We'll go
Of
with
that
it.
time of that time period, and then just sticking a witch straight up their ass and the devil. And I'm like, is this the best movie ever? I
These
love
are
it so much.
all the things I love.
I love it so much. What is wrong with me that I'm like, well, I really enjoy seeing people uncomfortable, and then bad things happen to them.
And it's like, yay.
What is wrong with me? Oh, I love it so much. This for me was a watch. I hadn't seen this movie since it came out. So it's been ages. I mean, almost 10 years.
Oh,
And I
wow.
had so much fun watching this damn movie this week. It was like
Same.
a Black Christmas experience. Remember when we watched Black Christmas again?
Yes.
And we were like, this movie's so fucking good. That's
Yeah,
how I
just
felt
like
this
sitting
week.
on your couch with your blankie and your popcorn, you're like,
So look, you already know what kind of Sean you're getting today. That I'm jacked on sugar and I'm really excited. So I am literally going to calm down and let you explain the movie. And I swear I'll behave, but I can't wait to ask you questions, but I'll behave.
No, I think it was such an interesting movie because there's so many layers to it. So because even at first you're it's the witch is literally on the outskirts of this family, right? So the witch is just like in aura, in surroundings, and it really is more like the actual core of the story is this family unraveling because they left their community based on their own religious beliefs. The father, who was fantastic, by the way. The father was William. That's I think Ralph Innocent is how you say it, right, or Einstein.
I don't know. You nailed it. And he's our generation's like Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing combined.
Yeah.
What an incredible genre actor.
Mhm.
Love Ralph Fiennes. Oh
Yeah,
my god.
a nice strong presence too.
And
But
that
he
voice? Oh my god.
right? I know. Like, please just read to me, and I'll just take my nap.
Or never sleep again.
Yeah. But everyone was great, even down to, like, the children, right? So, like, everyone just had, like, a perfect role to play, but either way, so they, kinda get banished from their community, they go in the middle of the woods, decide to start all over again, and everything just goes wrong. I don't know if they ever mentioned, what William did, as part of the community prior. I don't remember if they ever mentioned that, but he obviously, basically there's the only way to survive is to farm. But he can't farm.
He's a
He
shit
can
farmer. Yeah.
Yeah, shit farmer. He can't hunt. Like he's failing his family over and over and over again. And the only thing he was really good at the whole time, besides being fucking stubborn, was chopping wood.
All right, so I'm going to play the role of the guy in the back with many questions because
Okay.
I feel like, and I'm not being silly. I feel like you understand this movie better than I do.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have some questions for you because I need a little clarity. Okay,
Sure.
so do you feel like William, Ralph is playing William? Do you feel like that his great sin immediately is hubris? Like he thinks that his devotion it supersedes the settlement's devotion, and
Yeah.
then so like off the bat, we're seeing the weaknesses of our characters,
Yeah.
which they all kind of succumb to one by one. So, but his is that like that hubris, like no, 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 I'm the godly man here, and they're like, all right, tell your story down the road, and
Yeah.
good luck to you.
Yeah, it opens up in the courthouse. And he's telling them, like, you guys are not godly men, like, like I am, and that's why I can't be part of this community. But before I go further though, did you catch who the the governor, who the governor
Uh,
was speaking to him?
my fucking horror crush of all time. Say the words.
Julian Richings.
Julian motherfucking Richings in the house, and he's
I
just like, I'm on screen for 30 seconds. You're welcome.
I totally didn't catch that the first like two times I seen this film. And then finally, like he starts like talking. I think the third time I watched it, I was like, wait a second.
Julian Richings is. I take it back. Ralph. Uh, oh my god! I just said his name, and now I can't remember his
Innocent.
name. What is
Ralph
Innocent?
Innocent.
Ralph Innocent is definitely like he is such a genre actor. He is so good, but Julian is like next level genre master Jedi. I
I
love his work
I
so
would go as
much.
I would go as far and say he's like the Omega.
Yeah, nailed
Mhm.
it. See, I told you. Man, she's
Mm.
better. See, all of a sudden, start showing off that she's a better podcaster than me. It's like, oh, so I have to. All right. I have to talk about one thing though.
Mhm.
How about the anxiety that I started feeling with that tracking shot as they're leaving the settlement and the doors are closing, and you're like, it might be gross and smelly and gross in there, but it certainly seems safe with these big fucking doors
Oh
and
yeah.
like chickens running around, like my tummy's grumbling, and it looks like there'll be something to eat tonight, and then they're fucking off into the woods, and immediately I'm like, my anxiety is literally coming out of the top of my head.
Yeah.
I
And
would not have been a good settler.
they no, I definitely would have died. They as I would have been accused as a witch actually, for sure.
Yeah,
So
and I'd be like, "No, she's not." And then you and I are on the stake, and I'm like, "Hey, wait, why is it getting hot?"
Though,
I love how every other episode, you and I have a blast figuring out how we're going to get killed back in the Puritan times.
yeah. But it would be very, very easily, very quickly.
Oh yes, very quick. So So I'm sorry. So then we kind of jump ahead because now he's made his little settlement, and they have
Mhm.
the house and they have the land, and they're doing their farming. So you get the idea that okay, they've made a go of it, and they've been out here for a while, and they have their routine. And then let's talk about Samuel.
Yeah, and shit just goes down. So they actually filmed this in Canada. So they really found like a very remote area and actually built that whole set in the middle of the woods. And I think so they were pretty far inland. So the isolation like felt very real. And
Nice.
so the cast and crew, at an interview I saw, Ralph Ineson mentions that, like it was like just the family staying at like a very small, like nearby, like motel, if you will. I don't even think it was a hotel, but they were forced to just like hang together. Outside of filming, which brought them together as a family. So
Well,
it,
that's
the
cool.
yeah, so the you could feel like the connection as well, before they all start to like not trust each other. So it definitely felt isolated while they were filming it, which I think definitely helped. Um I think you had a question. I forgot what it was. But
Uh,
oh, okay, so we're going to go into Samuel.
yeah.
So, oh my god. So,
Oh, wait, I do have a question for
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
How about do you like how Eggers immediately, like, okay, so we could go from the expulsion, and this is all happening in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Go for
Yeah.
the expulsion, then they're in the settlement. We get the sense that they've been there for a while. Okay, they're doing their thing, and then Eggers, like, it's the immediacy of, like, I'm not. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it right now.
Oh yeah.
Do you like that?
I
Because I'm
loved it. Oh, like
huge fan of
it catapulted you into, wait, they're not safe like at all.
it. And a lesser filmmaker, I feel like, would have been like, no, 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 that's more of like a second. Let's a second act. We're going to do that in the second act to set up our third act. The fact that he does it within the first 7 minutes of the film,
Mhm.
that he is making pestle and mortar baby butter, with Samuel,
Yeah.
is I. The first time I saw that, I was like, Mike, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, wait, is that the baby?
Yeah.
Is that the baby? you
Yeah,
know?
because he cuts it very tastefully. Like that's, like it goes to like happen and you're like, no, 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 no. And then it cuts to the next scene and you don't see, thank God, you don't see what happens, unfortunately, to poor Samuel, who's an infant, by the way, for those of you that, didn't see this.
A
Um
delicious, delicious chubby baby.
plump.
No babies
But
were harmed in
but then all of a
making of
sudden
this
you
movie.
see,
Relax.
yeah. But then you see, obviously, what looks like to be an older woman,
A crone, so to
r-
speak.
a crone, yeah, rubbing, red stuff all over her, and you're like, oh
And her
boy,
broom.
yeah.
Did you get the
So
shot?
because it was truly believed that unbaptized children were taken for witches, and witches would use their whatever blood and whatever, and that would give them flight, and that's how they
Mhm.
actually flew. So the very next scene, obviously you really only see it like in shadow form, like up towards the moon, and so it's like, so you basically figure that she's probably been out here for a while and probably hasn't had any sustenance towards her powers, if you will.
Yeah.
And once
Yeah.
the family is closer to her quarters, or their quarters actually,
Yeah.
because you get, just not meaning to jump to the end, but I'll explain that in a minute. um and then but it's still just done so smartly, like, again, like, like she's clearly a threat now. Samuel is gone. I'm like, okay, this bitch is definitely around the family, and her aura is always kind of felt after that.
Yep.
But again, she's never in the forefront. Technically, not even Black Phillip is either, but he's definitely, there's something disturbing about him too.
Well, and then you've got Mercy and Jonas, the two younger children. The
Hmm.
casting in this movie, by the way, is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Everyone is such a great actor, but they look their parts. Mercy and Jonas, who I'm sure are marvelous children and now marvelous teens, um, they look like two prick kids that I couldn't fucking be around for 5 seconds without getting a case of the smackies.
Oh yeah, their
I do
asses
not
would
hit
have.
children. I mean, it's just, this was the theory, the cinematic theory only. Um, you know,
But yeah, in the
they look like
1630s,
they
though, yeah, my if I acted like that, like my rump definitely would have been red from my parents spanking me for sure.
the scene where the two of them are playing in the mud, and they won't stop playing in the mud, even though they've been told countless times to knock it off from everyone. I really, the casting is incredible, because they really do. They're just real pain in the ass young kids, and they nail it. you know?
Mhm.
So I thought that was great. I have a huge question that
Yeah.
I want to ask. I think I'm gonna wait. I think I'm gonna wait because it's kinda like the whole linchpin. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. Let's keep getting
Okay.
into it, but I
Yeah.
can't wait to ask this question of you.
Okay. So one question that I'm gonna revert to you.
Sure.
Okay, so why do you think that Black Phillip, remember, because so Black Phillip is the goat, again, for those of you who haven't seen
What a
it
name, by the way.
just yet. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So
so simple, but you're like, "Yeah, Black Phillip, of course."
yes. Who apparently was just as, difficult to work with, according to Eggers. Like, he was like, "Yeah, no, he was a bastard goat."
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's so
him, like,
funny.
ramming like that, yeah, was, he actually sent, Ralph Innocent to the hospital. He tore a tendon.
Oh my god. Almost every article you read about the witch spares very little time before they get to the fact that Black Phillip was an absolute pain in the balls.
Mhm.
They can't wait to tell you, "Yeah, this goat was a dick." But he nails it,
Yeah, he
he's
does,
very
yeah.
good at his job.
He also understood his assignment.
Okay, so what's your Black Phillip question? Because I think I
So
know it, but
yeah, so why do you think it starts off with him speaking to the children, the twins?
because I think that is the easiest conduit. Everyone else is already has that religious, varying degrees of religious fervor.
Mm,
Thomason, not so much. Like
mm,
she has like earthly wants. Oh shit, who's the brother? Oh, who's very good, by the way. Harley Scrimshaw. What a last name on this kid, Harley
yes,
Scrimshaw. Uh, what the
Caleb.
frick? Sorry, thank you,
He
Caleb.
played Caleb,
You know,
yeah.
I mean, this kid, this what I love about it, he's a typical teen. This kid's getting like uncomfortable boners every 5 seconds because he's 12.
Mhm.
It's just gonna happen. So they all have like their own stuff, but these kids are an easy get because it's like an imaginary friend.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
so so think about it. They can't really do a lot. They can't like manipulate or convince the grown-ups. But at this point, Black Phillip the Devil is like, maybe we're playing a numbers game. Maybe maybe I just start influencing these two and I'll get my beak wet. And then I'll start to, that influence will grow in like concentric circles as I get one more and one more and one more, you know?
yeah.
Boy, oh boy, that devil is so focused.
I know. So conniving.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The
I think a part of it is also too because they were just like wicked by nature, right? Like the whole
oh,
time they're yeah, you know what I
yes,
mean? So they're, like I mean they're, yeah, like you mentioned before, they're little bastards like the entire time,
correct.
like,
Yeah,
but but that what's ironically though is that they when it was Mercy that comes out and actually tells the truth. She's like when she's telling Thomason and Caleb about Samuel, she's like, no, it was the witch that took him.
mhm.
Black Phillip told me it was the witch. And they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? Meanwhile, I'm like, wait, so like they may be assholes, but she told the truth.
No, she did tell the truth. All right. Oh, we're getting so close to my gigantic big question, but I'm going to hold on for because I'm going to hold on. Let's keep going. So we have poor Samuel has been turned into Puritan CeraVe face cream. we have
It
we
turned
have
into a pate.
we have Catherine, the mom. We have Catherine, who is now, rightfully so, becoming more and more unhinged because the loss of her baby.
Hmm.
Completely makes sense. But like the scales are kind of falling through from everyone's eyes at this point because they're looking at William like, "You're a nice man, but you're ill equipped for any of this." You
Yeah.
know, and he is. I don't mean that sarcastically. He has a good heart. I think he has that hubris of putting his family in mortal danger by leaving the settlement. That's not great at all. He truly wants to provide for his family. He just doesn't have the skill set to do it, and they're gonna fucking die because of it. And now,
Yeah.
like, you know, all that had to happen was one little like deviation from their daily daily
Words.
norm. Words, teeth, lips, tongue, the worst. Um, you know, this is a massive deviation, the death of a child, but
Mhm.
they're off their axis. And like tangentially, that act of taking the baby has benefited the witch,
Mhm.
um, has set them on a path of destruction, which makes it now easier for the witch to manipulate
Oh, yeah.
and coerce and kind of like influence them in very subtle ways. Like everything is just set off in motion at this point, again, of cataclysmic event with the death of Samuel. But
Yeah.
like you just see that first domino go over and you're like, oh, I can't watch, but of course I can't not
Right.
watch. Oh,
Oh my god. And then I would say, like, the one who I felt bad for the most was Caleb. Caleb,
yeah.
I really feel like he was, like, the most innocent out of everybody. He was, I mean, because remove his father from the family, he's the man of the house. If
Hmm.
you when you put it, the hierarchy in
And
state.
perhaps a better one.
Possibly, which is why I think the witch went after him next.
He's also the most he's the most devout. He
Yeah.
is like really, he is a true Christian,
Mhm.
in those puritanical terms. I mean, this kid is like, the things that are happening with his prepubescent or pubescent body, he's like, I gotta pray this away.
Yeah.
Like
Because
he is a true believer.
Because I also really think that was, and it was so smart for Eggers to touch on that as well. Because I also think back in the 1600s, 17, whatever, that was another way for them, the witch theory thing. I think that was just another way for them to explain away puberty. Like now
Great point.
we know now we have like health classes and everything. Like, oh, like the hormones happen, these things happen, these changes happen to your body. Like, nobody had explanations of why this happens to you around the 11, 12 o'clock, 12 o'clock, what the fuck am I saying, 11, 12 years of age.
I understood it. I completely understood
You're
it. I was like, yeah,
just
words.
just
Words are
nodding,
hard.
just nodding. Yep.
I
Yep,
would have said 12
I
o'clock
hit
too.
I hit puberty when I was 11 o'clock as well.
I'm going to be enjoying this all day.
But they my point is that they had no way of explaining it, and it, in some sense, especially a woman coming, of age, like it I don't know, they just treated it like some sort of evil, because now, okay, so perfect example, the way Eggers used it is because, he starts like peeking at his sister a little bit because there's nobody else fucking around. Like, that's,
No.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, is
Yeah.
that incestuous? Yes. However, like, look at the situation again that his father put him in. There's literally nobody else
100%.
around. And
No.
now he's at an age where he starts to have those natural feelings, where everyone starts looking at, adult bodies, and, and you're just like, oh, is that going to be me one day? Like, like, I think like the adult figures become appealing to an
Couldn't
average
agree
person
more.
of that age, just because you're like, is that going to happen to me? Like, I like, like, it's, I think it's all, to me, natural thoughts, but back
And
then it was deemed unnatural.
how about the horror of you can't even ask what is happening to me?
Oh
Because
yeah.
the parents would be like, well, you most likely have the devil in you, and let me hit
Yeah.
you with my belt 40 times. Like
Yeah.
it's something crazy like that. Um, I did want to ask you though. Okay, so yeah, we have two teenagers, going through their teenage, thoughts and fantasies and what's happening with their body. You have our adults, and you have what I love is that you have your brackets of you've got your adults, you've got your teens, you've got your children.
Yes.
And then we had a Samuel.
And we
All right. So
we had a baby. Mm.
and each group has its own like hang-ups,
Yeah.
and obstacles to overcome. Not so much the two, bastard little kids, but they're just always a nuisance. Like they're just ever present nuisance that has to be dealt with and cared for. at every moment of the day. Someone's always got to be keeping an eye on them. With the death of Samuel, now their little circle has shrunk to
Mhm.
literally just the property and the field that they're tending. They can't even go into the woods. I mean, Mercy is saying to Thompson, hey, thanks a lot, fucking everything up. I used to be able to go have a little jaunt in the woods, and
Yeah.
now that's over. So it's like their world is shrinking, and you can feel it. Like everything's becoming so claustrophobic, which is so ironic in the movie that it's just nothing but vistas.
Yes.
Outside vistas. So, so now we have look, we have our pubescent feelings from Caleb. We have Thomason, who is just like, oh man, I wish I was anywhere but here, because everything seems to be my fault and everyone blames me for I'm just like the it girl for whatever the hell is happening at any given moment. It's Thomason's fault, you
Yep.
know and then they always talk about they have no money, they can't feed themselves. Starvation is a very real possibility the next season. You know,
Oh,
It-
yeah, for sure.
just think of like in our 21st century minds, just having to rely on your skill set to feed yourself and your family, and you're like, shit, the corn's dead, and you're like, oh, I guess that's it for us because we
Yeah.
can't go back to the settlement.
Well, the father then resorts to stealing and lying. If you when
Yeah,
you think about it, the true Christian, on
the
top of his
sins are racking
pride.
up, aren't
Yeah,
they?
that's what I'm saying. The sins of the father. I'm telling you, friggin' that's was the complete downfall. But anywho, which is why Black Phillip hated him the most. But no, but he resorts to stealing and lying. There was like a prized cup. I guess a silver chalice, I believe that Catherine had. Catherine's the wife, played by Kate
Hmm.
Dickey. So she's going on and on about this cup, and you're like, okay, why the fuck are you going on about a cup? But she mentions like my father gave it to me, so you figure it's a family heirloom. And
Like a one nice thing. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. The one nice fucking thing. And, now with Samuel gone, like who needed her to tend to him.
yeah,
To tend to him for everything. He was still at that young age. Now she kind of lost her purpose a little bit. If
yeah.
devastatingly so. So now she's just like, where is this prized possession that I totally had? And she's blaming everybody else. And William friggin' lets everybody else, especially Thomason, take that blame for a little bit,
Yeah.
until he finally admits his wrongdoing, that he took it and sold it.
Do you feel like when there's talk about basically selling Thomason to another family
Hmm.
to get the means to live through at least a winter,
Hmm.
because they could buy provisions? Do you feel like Thomason's like, please let this happen,
Yeah.
please let this happen?
I know. I was wondering. I couldn't really tell if she like cared for it or didn't.
I
But
think
then
she just felt like she'd be going from one hell into another. You know?
yeah, she's like, well, what worse could this possibly be? I guess.
Yeah,
But when Caleb, mentions that he's gonna try to do what he can to help save her, she goes with him. So I don't know. She doesn't seem all that like she doesn't seem all that worried about it. But the fact that Caleb is, I think she considers sweet. So I don't
the
know.
the one the one thing that the one thing that I really love about this movie, I forgot to bring it up in shortcuts. I'm gonna just, trust me, it's gonna make sense. I'm gonna land the plane. I promise you. But I saw the movie Sting. I saw the movie Sting the other night, and there's a family dynamic to the movie. It's very much a central part of the movie, that the family dynamic, which is like, it's a stepdad with a like a preteen daughter, like she's, I guess, like 11, 12. And it's such a cliche in horror movies and such a trope that they use, and it upset me. I thought it was just lazy. What I love about The Witch is that even though you have a dysfunctional family dynamic, there's true love there. They love each other. Like
Oh
it's
yes.
it's almost like it's kind of all we have. Like we just have each other, even though a lot of the time we want to kill each other. Uh, William has such a beautiful line to Caleb when they're out hunting, which goes horribly wrong. But
Mm.
Caleb is like, I feel like I've let you down. I feel like, I should be more of the man of the house, so to speak, and I should be able to help our situation. And William says to him, "I love thee marvelous well." And I just love that line because Ralph Ineson is like, he's this big burly guy with that deep voice, and you don't, but he does such a fantastic job of conveying his love for his family and his children. It
Yeah.
doesn't come naturally to him, and I think that's a testament to the acting skills of Ralph Ineson. But like, he has that incredible moment with Caleb, and it's not overtly saccharine or sweet or corny, but you're like, yeah, here's a guy who knows better than anyone there that he is so in the weeds and over his head, but he's trying to make everything okay. And the
Yes.
irony of it is that he doesn't even know that there's a witch right there, and the devil's in the goat, and you're fucked.
You're
You're
so fucked.
so galactically fucked. But you feel for him, you just
Yeah.
feel for him that he's just, whatever he does, none of them could have done anything that would have kept them from the conclusion of anything that happens to them.
No, no.
It's so delightful.
I know.
That's kind of like, all right. So here's one. I have multiple questions, but here's the one that is safe to do. It won't. This is the proper place for it.
Okay.
In devil movies, not possession movies, because possession movie, the person is typically incapacitated, and people come to them and try and help them. This is a devil movie where something is going on in their lives, like an omen. Like an omen. Like there's things that are happening that the our protagonists are unaware of.
Okay.
Now, when you're watching these movies, I I love them for the fact that typically we are we are more aware than our protagonists of what is happening because we're given those peeks behind the curtain.
Right.
With the Omen, going back to the '76 Omen, you're seeing, okay, yeah, this is a whole cabal that is against them that they slowly come to understand. I find it so delightful in these devil movies, and I want to get your opinion. Do you like devil movies? And if so, why do you like devil?
So the no, I do like devil movies. It's oh, what is the I mean, this one I feel like definitely stands out a lot more than just your
It
typical
does.
devil movie though. Because again, the core is focused on, something else entirely. Well, everything else is on the outskirts. And I think that's what I loved the most about it. Like I loved all the layers. I loved, that it's just not a devilish movie, if you will.
Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, everything was very poetic. Everything was, every shot had a purpose. Every, like the
It's
angles.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. The devil movies that work for me are the ones where when our characters eventually figure out what's going on, which is typically way too late.
Way
I
too
mean,
late.
I'm racking my brain right now. I can't think of one devil movie where when the protagonists figure out what's going on, it doesn't lead immediately to their demise.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's usually when like they're tying them to the altar and they're like, "Hey, wait a minute, there was the librarian," like. So I absolutely love that. The shitty ones are the ones where you see it coming 50 miles away for the character. You're like, well, this is so stupid that they can't see this. Like, it's very delicate, intricate work to make these kind of genre movies, this subgenre, to make it work so well. You
Yeah.
know, I can't. I'll be honest though. I can't see the stitch work. I can't see the seams with Eggers the Witch. It's so masterful, everything, like, just the care that went into the script and shooting it the way he wants, where, like, it's just these little subtle things that are happening that you can miss. It's almost like Midsommar, where there's so much
Mhm.
going on in the background when there's stuff going on in the foreground that you like, wait, there's a whole fucking other movie going on back there.
Yeah.
I don't know that The Witch is that same kind of film, but there is so much subtle work going into laying the tapestry for what eventually leads Thomason, to feck off into the woods nudie patootie, you know? So okay, this brings me. I have to do it now because I can't
Okay.
even wait anymore.
Okay. Okay.
Is Thomason in on this from the beginning?
I don't think she is. I
Okay,
think
I don't know.
yeah, I don't think she is. I think she's really the only one that kind of realizes after by the time it gets to the point where Caleb is obviously taken. I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit where they finally basically where like they all come to realization that like I don't think we're we're not the only ones in these fucking woods. Like she because
Yeah,
again, Mercy was the one who tried telling her, no, there is a witch, and Black Phillip talks to us.
yeah.
Like Thomason reaches the point where she's just like, oh my god, she was telling the truth. you
But
know
okay, now here's where I need clarification. I hope you can clarify this for me because when Mercy, Caleb, and Thomason are by the creek and Caleb and Thomason are washing the clothes and Mercy comes up being a prick
Mhm.
and is taunting Thomason for fucking everything up because I used to be able to go into the woods. And then Thomason, in a rage, almost like a fugue state, goes for her and throws her to the ground. And she's saying, and I did give up Samuel and I danced naked in the woods with them. And she literally foreshadows what happens in the last
Yeah,
3 minutes of the film. And
yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, has she been doing this? Like, because Samuel's disappearance is it's that's we're in the scene with Thomason. There's no other characters in that scene, so it is literally her rendition of what happened and her perspective of
yeah,
what happened. You know, so she goes back and she's like, "Yeah, he disappeared," and then it's Mercy who is like, "No, the witch took Samuel into the woods." Like all of a sudden, I started getting the sense when I watched it this time. I'm like, "Oh shit." Not only is Thomason verbatim saying what is going to happen later on in this movie as if she lived it already, but her story's coming loose. Like starting to see the seams in her lies, and then everything can be taken two ways. Like Caleb, we know, is having massive concerns about his sexual feelings for his sister,
Mhm.
and when they are at the creek in a different scene, and she's like, "What's wrong with you? Come here, come here." And she's beckoning him to sit in her lap.
Yeah,
Like
and
you
she
can,
comforts him. Yeah,
but it's all okay. So she comforts him, but could she also have been ensnaring him deeper into his lust? Like you could see it from two different perspectives, or
yeah,
is it just
you
me being
can.
weird?
I didn't. No, you're definitely weird. I didn't. I didn't see it that way. I saw it as this family was put in this situation, and now they're in it together, and they really only have each other. So they
Okay,
definitely already have that closeness. And as far as her foreshadowing to Mercy, I just kind of saw it as a moment of kind of just her stooping down to Mercy's level just for a second. Just like, okay, you little shit. Fine.
yeah,
I am the witch, whatever. And she, and got a scare out of her. I just think that's all I saw it. I literally saw it as an like a little sister being a dick. So the older sister
okay,
was
all right,
was just being a dick back in that one moment. I think that was like a little just sibling rivalry
okay.
for a hot second.
Because after that scene, I started viewing the movie, and I agree with you. By the way, I agree with you. By the way, and I think it's more satisfying when Thomason has uh, her ending
Yeah.
that as
Yeah.
opposed to her being on it from the beginning. But then I couldn't help myself from viewing it from the two different perspectives. Like when Caleb is having his fit and he coughs up the apple,
Mhm.
and William is screaming at Thomason, take the kids out of the room. All she has to do is pick them up, but she keeps them there. And I'm like, why? Why does she keep them there? Like, just adding to that the terror that's building up. She confronts her father, which I don't know that would be something that you would do back in puritanical times. Like, she really does. She's like, you're a shit farmer, and
Oh,
you put us in this situation.
she let him have it. Yeah.
I mean,
I
you let me
loved
take
that scene.
you let me take the blame for the fucking cup. You let me take the blame for everything, basically. Like, hey, you know
Mhm.
what? Fuck you. And I just like to me, it felt like, oh, so is she now transitioning into what she's going to become? Like, which, look, you say what you want about witches. For me, it's all good. But you say what you want about witches is that they are they're the they they're also an extremist position. It's not religious extremism, or maybe it is because it's the devil. I don't know. May have painted myself into a corner here. But like it's they have unburdened themselves
Mhm.
from the repressive. It's all this movie's all about repression, by the way. It's all about repression. The witch has removed herself from the repression and can live freely. Now she is beholden to the devil, so she too worships a deity. So it's not like, okay, I'm free and clear and I do whatever I want. I'm playing jazz, like there's a price to pay.
Right.
You're beholden, and it doesn't necessarily look like it's the greatest existence. I mean, the witch is eking out a living as well. Had
Mhm.
Samuel not come along, or the family not come along, I don't know. I don't know. Like, it just seems like a tough living as well. Like everybody at this time, not a lot of laughs.
Not in yeah.
So with that in mind, like, yeah, it just seems like Thomason is releasing her repression step by step. I am with you. I just think she is a young woman and
Mhm.
she is feeling her power, and it feels natural and earned. I can't help myself from being like, harumph.
I think when it finally comes to like the cataclysmic events that take place that eventually that we get, I think
Yeah.
she reaches a moment of a can't beat 'em, join 'em type of situation. Like
Okay, but I gotta ask you something though, Shannon,
yeah,
because they don't show it on film.
yeah.
The crone, the witch is eating, drinking the goat. I don't know what's happening to the goat, but the witch is 100% involved and nude, and then the children disappear and the goats are massacred. And Thomason wakes up. It's when William gets killed by Black Phillip. But like now we're just like, okay, we're bubbling over now.
Uh-huh.
Hey, but like Thomason has this very weird ability to black out when stuff goes down. You know, she legitimately gets knocked off the horse and gets knocked out in that circumstance, but she blacks out. Uh, you know, During this massacre, we never find out what happens to Mercy and Jonas. I assure you, nothing good. you know,
No,
there had
definitely
to have
not.
been a lot of levitation potion for all of the witches to rise at the end, and I have a feeling the ingredients are Mercy and Jonas. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
can you explain to me her being unconscious? Like,
So I think by this point, and again, it took me a couple times to finally realize this. So I think what does the devil want to do as far as the old folklore goes, right? He's always looking to recruit,
sign the book, yeah.
sign the book. Obviously, fuck the men. The men were in the way. He was after the women the
Just want
whole
to,
time. He wanted
yeah,
women. He wanted both Catherine and Thomason. He just didn't get to Catherine. He totally got to Catherine for sure, showing her the children that she lost right after Caleb left. Caleb died. I mean, he didn't leave.
but did that tip her over into insanity?
Probably
Do
a
you think?
little bit, yeah. Also, she comes outside and it's just Thomason. Her other kids now. More of her children are gone.
Do you
Friggin'
think she signed the book? By the way, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but do you think Catherine signed the book?
no, I don't think she got to. I really think her just like her frustrations and she was again she's kind of been taking it out on Thomason a lot the almost the
Yeah,
majority of the time. Then it just got pushed up to 11 and she just starts to go after Thomason, and now it becomes a survival thing where Thomason genuinely fears for her life that her mom is going to choke the shit out of her and
yeah.
sharp implement, and she just kind of you
By
know
the way, I did a poor. I'm sorry, I skipped us ahead. We should go back and say that Caleb at this time has been bewitched
yeah.
by the witch, who presents herself as this gorgeous, almost Red Riding. Like you love that red cloak. I love the
Ah,
touches in this
totally.
movie.
Yeah, I want her outfit.
Okay, so she comes out and he gives into his urges, but it's filmed so well, and Haley Scrimshaw does a masterful job. What a goddamn what a crackerjack actor. He's walking toward the witch and his little lip is trembling.
Yeah, Yeah,
It's
he just lost his dog, so now
yeah,
he's like, I don't, his mind just might be racing for a minute. Like, oh my god, I just lost my dog. I'm now in the middle of the woods. There's a beautiful woman in front of me. Mercy did mention a witch. Is this the fucking witch? But is this a beautiful woman who's going to help me lead me back to my family? Like, what? Like, I don't think like he definitely doesn't understand what's happening right
but he
then.
gives in though,
But
because
he
his feet don't fail me now. He could have turned around and, I
and
mean, he
just
probably wouldn't have made it that far, but he could have tried to escape. But he gives in and he slowly walks to her with his little lip trembling, and
mm,
then he goes in for that kiss, and then that shot of the wit crone's hand holding him, and it's aged.
yeah.
Okay,
Ugh.
okay, team timeout for 1 sec. Let's just pick shots in this movie because this is the kind of movie where we have to identify this. Like the what we talked about previously of the whole sequence of Samuel being converted into fuel, so to speak. But
Mhm.
the the shot of the witch stroking the little baby's body and then bringing the knife up, then it cuts away, and then you have her with, like gigantic pestle. Like these shots are insane. The shot of the arm, the shot of the peekaboo with Sam, like the way things are shot in this movie, it's so jarring and gorgeous and dreadful all at the same
Yeah,
time.
I agree.
Oh, it's just, I gotta watch this movie again. Why did I wait 10 years? What is wrong with me? I'm fucking going to see Sting. And it's like I got this waiting for me at home. What's wrong with me?
But
By the
you
way,
br
Sting is very bad. It's very, very bad.
aw.
Weta Workshop does a phenomenal job with the practical creature effects and the CGI for the spider in the movie, which gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's off the charts, insanely good. But the rest of the movie is hot garbage. Sorry, Sting. Everyone who worked on it, you did a great job. I'm glad you got paid, but what a fucking bad movie. Sorry. Huh? Why? Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway,
That's
back to it.
okay.
I know. I feel bad. I feel bad. But anyway.
I know. We
Okay.
wanna like everything.
So you've done a great job. I thank you very much. You've done a great job of helping me to kind of categorize, my questions, and I have answers that I'm pleased with. Um, you have convinced me though that Thomason wasn't part of it from the get go. Um, okay, so now we have the death of William. He gets killed by Black Phillip, and then
Mhm.
Thomason kills
I
Catherine
I want to
in
focus on
self defense.
William's death for a hot second, though, really
Oh,
quick,
please take as
because
much time as you want.
I found this really interesting. So I kind of mentioned it before. Was that okay? So we already spoke about William and his pride and everything. And he, by the way, when shit hits the fan with Caleb dying, fantastic scene, by the way, by Harvey
Oh my
Scrimshaw.
God,
Friggin' just like his like theatrics is it was perfect, and like and you just really felt it like when his
yeah.
life finally like left him. You're like, what a fucking phenomenal actor. Like it was such a great scene. Heartbreaking scene, but such a great scene.
Wish it
Um
was in more.
yeah. So, but then shit really starts hitting the fan after that, like the William starts going, the both William and Catherine are just beside themselves because they lost another child, and now the twins continue being little shits, saying that like, oh my god, I can't remember my prayer, and now they start pointing at Thomason that she's bewitching them, and they're like, what the fuck is happening? So William's
Yeah,
just like, you know what, enough of everyone's goddamn shit, and he literally locks them, he puts them in a corner, locks them in the barn, right? So now it's gets to the point where he finally admits it. He's like, I know it was my pride. I damned my family, and I'm gonna fix it. I'm gonna pack everybody up, and we're just gonna go back to the village, and I will beg to them on my knees. Basically, is what he's praying to God outside by himself.
yeah.
Obviously, by this point, it's just a tad too late. The
And
witches.
Philip's like, "What's that now?"
Basically, yeah. Black Phillip is always very nearby, and and now you start seeing like this bunny kind of all over the
Oh,
place, you
shit.
know,
Man,
and
I
yeah,
forgot to talk about the bunny.
yeah. And the bunny that's just like staring. And on top of Flight, you start picking up on, oh shit, maybe she could shapeshift. So she's very much right on top of the family and watching, their demise, if you will, and their unraveling the whole time, and making it worse. So
Yeah.
So, but fast forward now, obviously the very next day happens. The barn looks like it was blown up, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Mercy and Jonas are gone, and it's just Thomason with surrounded by a bunch of dead goats. So William gets out. He's like, "What the fuck is happening?" Um, so throughout the movie with William's struggles, the only thing again that you really see him constantly going back to is chopping wood. You finally,
Yes.
if you look in the background and see how much wood they have, I'm like, you don't need that much wood, my dude. Like
It's up to the damn
it's
second story window.
you could build another house.
Yeah.
So you don't need that much wood. Like you're not doing it because you need it. It gets to the point now, like where he's constantly doing it now out of what's the word I'm looking for? Like kind of out of his
Compulsion.
own guilt. Well, kind of out of his own guilt. Like he knows he's guilty, and I think he kind of knew he's in the wrong in his subconscious, but he won't admit it, you know?
Yeah. Right.
So how fitting is it that when Black Phillip starts on ramming him and potentially, goes to kill him finally and just take him out, that he's fucking buried under all of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like he's literally buried under his own guilt, if you will.
His guilt and his distraction because he was cutting wood instead of trying to do better in the field or go hunt, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, look, I'm doing something, everybody. And
Yeah.
Thompson calls him out on it. She's like, you're shit at everything. All you do is chop fucking wood, dude. You
Yeah.
know, in puritanical parlance,
Yes.
But it's, yeah, I mean, it's funny because like everyone gets their comeuppance, I mean, not earned. These poor people they didn't have a chance,
No, not at all.
Now, the one question which I can never answer, and I don't know if you can answer, but if you can, I love you for it. When does Black Phillip get possessed? When does Black Phillip become a vessel for the devil?
So that's something that they don't explain
And
ever.
I'm fine with that. I
Yeah.
should say I'm totally fine with that. It
I
shouldn't be
yeah,
explained.
they never
But I'm just
explain
like,
it because
um,
they leave the community and all of a sudden, fast forward, they have a house, a barn, and goats.
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, did you have the animals the whole time? Like it's
I,
possible that they still had a little bit of money left, while they were, you figure they slept outside while they're building their house. So they
and I could
must
have sold some stuff.
they,
Yeah.
yeah, they must have sold some stuff. They must have traded some stuff. Um, because it definitely fast forwards to uh not too much longer because obviously, like I said, Sam is still an infant, but maybe 6 months
I
working
was
day
just
and
curious.
night, I guess. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Just curious because I'm like, okay, so when we encounter the family in the settlement, Black Phillip is definitely the devil,
Mhm.
because he's already talking to the kids. I'm just curious. I'm just like, wow, man, I wonder when, and you know, of course, I can't help. It just the wheels keep turning. I'm like, I wonder if there was a natural pull toward this destination. Like, was there some sort of beacon? Like, come to me. Like, who was the weak link? It's probably William because he was the one driving the cart. Like something was beckoning him to set up settlement there, so they could just have, the devil and the witches, plural, could just make a meal of them. In some cases, literally, and then figuratively as well, because the witches get everything they want at the end.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean,
they,
it's definitely possible that there had to be other settlements somewhat nearby because because who did William sell the cup to? Like he's mentioned
yeah,
he sold it, so I'm like, okay, there's definitely dealings with other people, so it's very possible that maybe there was an older woman that happened to have a goat that just said, I don't need this goat anymore. I'm too
yeah.
old of a woman, and it could be that woman maybe lives nearby in the woods and is eyeing their baby.
But
It's
again,
possible
what
they
I
were
love,
targeted then, you
a
know?
lesser a lesser screenwriter and a lesser filmmaker would have painted broad strokes and been like, oh no, this is where they got Philip. This is the exact moment that Philip became possessed. Like just like laying all those breadcrumbs.
Yeah, and
I
you don't
truly
need it.
enjoy. No, I enjoy a filmmaker who is so confident in their craft that they're like, no, we don't need this. Don't need it, because we get so many horror movies where the exposition, you're just like, oh, it's so much. I don't need this. Like, I'll do a little bit of the work for you. It's okay. you know?
Like the
So,
explanation ending in Psycho.
oh yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Um, I love the fact that we did this movie when we're doing it coming off of Witch Hunter General, and we didn't get to do Blood on Satan's Claw, but we'll definitely do that down the line. But the movies that we've done, this movie, I love the fact that we've done The Witch. And wait, do I dare spoil what we have coming up, or do I not?
If as long as we don't change our minds, because sometimes we've done that.
No, we're going to stick with this because I think it's a perfect way to wrap up Witches and Covens and the Devil, and we're going to do The Craft, and we're going to do The Witches.
Yay!
So yeah, so I'm super excited. I haven't watched The Witches in ages, and I
I
haven't
j-
watched The Craft since the '90s.
I just watched The Witches. What a fun ride! I
I
fucking love
can't wait.
that movie.
I cannot wait. I can't wait to do it. So we're gonna end on a fun witchy one, to lighten the mood a little bit, I guess. I guess. So, but we're gonna do the craft next week, and then we're gonna end on the witches.
Okay.
That cool? All right,
Yeah.
let's do it that way. The craft, just I remember seeing this in the theater, and man, that movie had a moment. You know, it really had a great moment, and all of a sudden, goths everywhere rejoiced, like, "You see me?" You
Like, these are
know?
my people.
These are my people. They're making movies for me. I love this. So, all right, but before we leave The Witch, I just wanted to know, you were kind enough to answer my questions. I truly enjoyed this experience. I love it when we rewatch movies and they're so much better than you thought.
Oh, for sure. And again, like especially this one, like there's so much more that I see the more I watch it. Because again,
Yeah,
that's how layered this movie is. You know,
so
like
good.
I mean, I'll admit, like the old English language was a little hard. You know, you definitely need subtitles, which I believe every Eggers movie I think needs subtitles.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It's good. It's okay. It's
so,
okay.
yep, I definitely missed the dialogue. I think the first time, the second time, I'm like, okay, I'm picking up on what they're saying now that I know what eventually happens. But now I'm starting to look at other areas, and you pick up on so much more, and it's so worth a rewatch over and over and
Okay.
over again.
We're gonna have a challenge. When we're done with our witches and covens, and that could include warlocks as well. Oh, by the way, holy cow! A shout out to listen this morning. Cradle to the Grave doesn't they do intermission episodes where they just pick a movie from the year that Eric is doing, and they did Warlock, and it's such a great episode. Just a half hour. Damn it, Eric! I can't remember your guest name, but he's an absolute crackerjack. Um, and the two of them sit down and talk about Julian Sands, R.I.P. They do justice to Warlock. That's a crazy little movie, and I
Yeah.
love that they did it. So after you're done listening to us, go check out Cradle to the Grave. Eric Hansen, he puts out a fantastic podcast, and you'll absolutely love it. But this is the challenge that I'm gonna have for you when we're done with our witch series. When we're wrapping up the final episode, you're gonna tell me your favorite witch, best movie witch of
Ooh.
all time, and I'll
Okay.
tell you mine, and we'll defend our choices.
Okay.
Ha ha! Shalom.
I accept.
Nice. All right, so you got anything else for the witch, or are we gonna see it fly away on its broom?
No, I think that's it. I mean, I could probably go on for more and more about it, but for the sake of time, I won't.
If you got something good to say, girl, you say it. We're not going anywhere. Have at it. I know you made copious notes.
Well, one thing that we didn't discuss really too much was what did you think of the scene with when Catherine thought she was breastfeeding? Because I feel like
Oh,
a lot of people were actually kind of confused with that scene, with her just like
I.
laughing and everything. Like it cut. So she sees right after Caleb's death, she sees Caleb
Mhm.
um holding Samuel, and she's like, "Oh my god, my children," or whatever. So now you're just like,
Yeah,
like, gee, I wonder who that could be. And and he's talking in a whisper and everything. So you're like, oh,
and
that's the
he's
devil.
trying to get her to sign the book.
Yeah. So
I
she starts breastfeeding, and then it cuts to her, with a crow.
I
And
love that scene.
yeah, everyone was a little confused about it. I'm like, I think that the crow was just another witch.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
it could have been Black Phillip too, actually.
We have established in this film that blood is a currency for witches.
Yes.
Very, very much so. Um, yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that is a shapeshift. I think that is very much the witch.
Mhm.
Um, I think that it's almost as if the witch and the devil were in cahoots to try and get Catherine to sign the book. I don't think, to your point, I don't think it works out. Even though Caleb is saying, you'll see us, we'll come to you, over and over again. Wouldn't that be great? But I think she's too far gone to sign the book, too far gone to notice that a crow is pecking at her breast.
Yeah.
She's almost in like this euphoric state of like her sadness has just brought her to another realm, and
Yeah.
she just physically can't feel things.
Yeah.
As
Too
far as
traumatized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as far as shots in the movie though, when you have that snap cut to what is actually happening,
Mhm.
I just remember in the movie theater people being like, "Ah, my eyes," you know,
Ah!
like, "Oh my gosh, okay." And then, if you remember, the next scene is Catherine and William in bed, and William gets up and he pulls the covers back, and you see blood there because the
Mhm.
audience, myself included, were like, "Oh, was this a dream? Was this something that it actually didn't
Yeah.
happen?" But then when you see the blood on her nightgown,
And you're like,
you're like,
not a dream. That was
"Yeah,
that
no,
like
no."
that really happened.
Use of animals in this movie is also next level. You
Yeah.
know, the use of nature and animals and the terror of nature comes flying off the screen at you. You know,
Yes.
this, this movie's just shot gorgeously, but if it does anything, which good, not just witch movies, survival horror, slasher horror, when they can make the woods seem as terrifying as the woods truly are,
Yes.
that's well done. You
Yes.
know,
The
woods are a
woods
scary place.
the woods are a scary place. I mean, it's beautiful.
They
I love nature and nature walks and things of that, but yeah, but they are fucking terrifying.
Shannon, I think I'm going over our guests that we've had. And guys and gals, if I'm putting words in your mouth, I truly apologize. But I'm thinking of Andy Davidson, John Langan, Emily Hughes, Sadie from last week, Sadie Hartman. Oh my gosh, Clay, Robert, Atone, Clay McLeod Chapman. These all we've brought up the woods, not with all of our guests so far, but a great number of them, and everyone said the same thing. Beautiful, love it, scary as hell.
Yes.
It's a scary, scary place.
Yeah, for sure. And there's just an
So,
eeriness to this one that it just totally captures. Again, on the outskirts, while the family is dealing with their dealings, in the core, but
and how about
just
the fact that like, oh, your tum tum's rumbling, you're hungry. Oh, guess where you get your food? That scary as fuck place right over there. Good luck with that. You
yes.
know, don't shoot your eye out. Oops. It's so
like
crazy.
every like
Oh,
just everything goes wrong.
I'm so happy. I'm just so insanely happy that we are in the time period that we're in.
Yes. Same. Because we definitely would have been killed.
Yeah, as I'm texting with one hand and I'm microwaving a burrito with the other. I'm like, these are good times.
Yeah.
So anything else?
No, that's it. Like I said, I'll go on forever and ever. But
Well, you're gonna get your chance.
I think we did it justice.
Don't forget, you're gonna get your chance because we're gonna get into it, witches with the craft and with the witches. So there's plenty more witch
Yes.
to be discussed.
A lot more to come.
All right, take us out of here in your best witchy voice.
Ooh, ooh, and that's a cut, my kiddies. Ooh. That was terrible, but that's okay.
No, I really love cutting that and I'm putting it in the intro. Oh, I love witches so much. All right, that's it. We out.